They say, who take care of the man who takes care of himself? Huh? You better act like the sun. You heard? The sun don't do nothing but one thing, shine.
Why is education important in life? Education develops critical thinking. This is vital in teaching a person how to use logic when making decisions and interacting with people, boosting creativity, enhancing time management. Education helps an individual meet basic job qualifications and makes them more likely to secure better jobs. Develops critical thinking. Some definitions of education. The purpose of receiving or giving systematic instruction, especially at a school or university, a new system of public education, an enlightening experience. A day with those kids was an education in patience and forbearance. Wow, I like how you added enlightening in there. Let's continue. What is the best definition of education? Definition of education: the action or process of educating or of being educated. Also, a stage of such a process. The knowledge and development resulting from the process of being educated, a person of little education. The field of study that deals mainly with methods of teaching and learning in schools. Robots. Concerned with methods of teaching and learning in schools or school-like environments, as opposed to various non-formal and informal means of socialization. This or like this. What is the modern definition of education? Education is defined as a learning process for the individual to attain knowledge and understanding of the higher specific objects and specific. The knowledge gained formally resulting individual has a pattern of thought and behavior in accordance with the education they have gained. Yeah. A learning process for the individual to attain knowledge and understanding of the higher specific objects and specific. Does educated lives matter? Do they? What is the origin of the word of education? Etymologically, the word education is derived from the Latin word educatio, a breeding, a bringing up, a rearing. From educo, I educate, I train, which is related to the homonym educo. I lead forth, I take out, I raise up, I erect. From from, out of, and duco, I lead, I conduct. Y'all forgive me if I pronounce that stuff wrong. Now we have the etymology dictionary. Y'all can read through there. I do not want to mispronounce these words in here. I'm not good with Latin and French. A lot of people prefer this dictionary. Next, we got some origin of the word. This is from top on down. The training of animals. Okay, this is the same dictionary. I'll read the second paragraph. According to Century Dictionary, educere of a child is usually with reference to bodily nurture or support, while educare refers more frequently to the mind, and there is no authority for the common statement that the primary sense of education is to draw out or unfold the powers of the mind. Educate. It's looking more and more like just to keep you in line, I guess. Same thing for everyone. Interesting.
There's one more very important part. One more. The flanges. Flanges. Everybody wiggle your flanges, please.
Self-education. This is an article on James Cameron. James Cameron was a truck driver before he used film students' paper to teach himself how to direct movies. James Cameron is universally known as one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, with such films as The Terminator, Titanic, and Avatar on his resume. It's easy to see why he's held in such high regards. However, there was a time when Cameron was a regular guy looking for a way into the movie business. In fact, prior to taking the leap into filmmaking, Cameron was a truck driver who finessed his way into the movie business after using USC film students' papers to teach himself how to direct. I went straight from being a truck driver to being a film director, Cameron revealed. He jokingly stated that the career transition was relatively easy for him. All you got to do is stand there and say, "I'm a director," Cameron added, laughing. The Titanic director never went to film school but still got an education. Cameron never went to a formal film school to educate himself on the craft. Instead, he would drive down to USC on the weekends to teach himself the art of filmmaking. What I used to do is I was working as a truck driver on the weekends. I drive down to USC. I was living in Los Angeles, Cameron said. I lived in Orange County at the time. Even though he didn't attend any of the classes at USC, Cameron would print graduate student dissertations and study them in his downtime. I drive down to USC. I go in, and for the cost of Xeroxing, I would Xerox all these doctoral dissertations on optical printing and film stock, film emotions, and all that stuff, Cameron said. Build up these big binders of how everything was done. I was like a total gearhead, so I gave myself a full college education for about $120. The search for higher learning.
What is high? What is higher? What is learn? What is learning? What is higher learning?
The U.S. Department of Education. The U.S. Department of Education is the agency of the federal government that establishes policy for, administers, and coordinates most federal assistance to education. It assists the president in executing his education policies for the nation and in implementing laws enacted by Congress. What is the main purpose of the Department of Education? The CDE's mission is to provide a world-class education for all students from early childhood to adulthood. The CDE serves our state by innovating and collaborating with educators, schools, parents, and community partners, preparing students to live, work, and thrive in a highly connected world. What is the role of DPED? Establishing policies on federal financial aid for education and distributing as well as monitoring those funds. Collecting data on America's schools and disseminating research. Focusing national attention on key educational issues, prohibiting discrimination, and ensuring equal access to education. Y'all can look at this. I broke down the word ed. It deals with past tense. Intelligent. Intelligence has been defined in many ways. The capacity for abstraction, logic, understanding, self-awareness, learning, emotional knowledge, reasoning, planning, creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving. What makes an intelligent person? A highly intelligent person is one who is flexible in their thinking and can adapt to changes. They think before they speak or act, and they're able to effectively manage their emotions. Dr. Catherine Jackson, licensed clinical psychologist and board-certified neurotherapist, tells Bus. Intellect, the faculty of reasoning and understanding objectively, especially with regard to abstract or academic matters. The understanding or mental powers of a particular person, an intelligent or intellectual person. I like it already. The ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills, an eminent man of great intelligence, the collection of information of military or political value. I have to throw the military in there. Types of intelligence. The 7 types of intelligence: linguistic, enjoy writing, reading, telling stories, or doing crossword puzzles; logical, mathematical, interested in patterns, categories, and relationships; bodily, kinesthetic, process knowledge through bodily sensations; spatial, musical, interpersonal, intrapersonal. Your innate is great, and it's yours forever. Innate, inborn, natural, originating in the mind. I like in, the word in, my opinion. Education is a cookie cutter system provided by the government to control you, to keep you in line. You are a product. They won't like it when you become too intelligent. Self-education and a thirst for knowledge will awaken your innate, in turn giving you back the power you were born with. Can I get an amen? All right, this is an article. Circle Magazine, Health, Wellness, and Genetics by Circle DNA, Education versus Intelligence, What's the Difference by Erica Gordon. A person's education versus intelligence. Do you know which one holds more significance? For some people, intelligence and education appear to be of equal importance, while others believe one is better or more important than the other. Education versus intelligence is a common debate because they are arguably very different. The two words are also often used interchangeably when describing someone who appears to have a high IQ. When someone is well educated, we often call them intelligent. Similarly, we assume intelligent people are well educated. However, there are differences between education versus intelligence that are worth noting. Everyone has a capacity for intelligence, and everyone is capable of increasing their IQ. Some people are even genetically predisposed to have a higher IQ and genetically more likely to have a high educational attainment ability, thanks to their unique genetic makeup. Some people will be naturally included to be more educated or have higher IQ levels, but those who don't have it in their genes can still become equally as intelligent or equally as educated. Both education and intelligence can be fostered and nurtured, but the two are different things. Intelligence is your fundamental potential to understand the world and solve problems within it, which includes your intellectual potential. Alternatively, education can be thought of as the tools you use to expand your intelligence. Let's dive a little deeper into the difference between education and intelligence. What are the hallmarks of intelligence? The level of intelligence in an individual is dependent on various factors, including your genetics, upbringing, environment, and access to education. As a broad concept, intelligence is usually defined as a capacity or potential for understanding displayed by an individual. This capacity can be measured by tests used to examine your capacity for learning. Now I'm noticing they putting this IQ thing in there, man. Let's just read the story. What's up with all this IQ stuff? A portion of your intelligence is related to your DNA. We're all born with a capacity for learning, which is often influenced by the IQ or intelligence of our parents. If your parents have a high IQ, you're also likely to have a good capacity for intelligence. Wow. Genetic factors account for about 50% of your IQ. The rest is determined by your experience, nutrition, environment, and education. While a DNA test can show you your current capacity for intelligence or how likely you are to develop a good IQ, your intellect isn't static. You can sharpen your mind by placing yourself in mental challenging situations and committing to learning new things. You can also feed your mind with the right nutrition, reducing oxidative stress and antioxidants so your brain can process information more efficiently. It's also worth noting there are different kinds of intelligence. Some people are extremely intelligent when it comes to music and creative practices. They know how to develop their skills in this area and have a natural ability to absorb knowledge created to those topics. Other people have a more logical or mathematical level of intelligence, where they feel more comfortable with numbers and logical problems. What is education? Education is the process of developing skills, knowledge, and talents through research, training, and experience. It can help to develop a person's character and pave the way for greater intelligence. Education also helps us discover how to use our intelligence effectively. The major difference between education and intelligence is that education is something an individual pursues and uses to their cognitive advantage. Intelligence is an internal force you're born with and can choose whether to develop. Interestingly, your capacity for education can also be influenced by your genes. Some people are more predisposed to educational attainment than others. Research shows about 20 to 40% of an individual's educational attainment is influenced by their genetics, while the rest is influenced by environmental factors. Educational attainment refers to how long you're able to stay in school and absorb information. Some people never finish high school, while others go on to complete entire doctorates at university. While income and environment have a strong impact on the level of formal education a person completes, personality traits, cognitive function, and brain development are important too. Fortunately, having a low capacity for educational attainment doesn't mean you won't be intelligent or successful. While a good education improves your chances of being intelligent, it's not the only factor worth considering. Yeah, I like that last part. Just be intelligent. Do you need education to be intelligent? Education is a helpful supplement for intelligence. It's one of the many ways you can stimulate your brain and develop specific skills. However, it's not a mandatory part of intelligence. Just look at all the geniuses and successful billionaires in the world who were high school or college dropouts. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg all left college before getting their diploma. Other examples include Evan Williams, the creator of Twitter, Larry Ellison, billionaire founder of Oracle, Jane Kuhn, WhatsApp creator, John Mackey, Whole Foods entrepreneur, Travis Kalanick, the founder of Uber, quit college a couple months before graduating. And y'all can look those people up. Notably, education doesn't have to be formal to positively influence your intellect either. We can also become more educated by simply by experiencing important things. Every time you make a mistake at work or try something new at school, you're educating yourself and testing the boundaries of what you can do. Where do education and intelligence overlap? This is an okay article. Intelligence and education are two concepts associated with brain power and cognitive functioning. The better your brain works, the more likely you are to respond well to education and develop your intelligence. However, intelligence is a characteristic, while education is a tool. If you were to think of developing your mind like growing a muscle in your body, your intelligence would be like the bicep in your arm. Alternatively, education is the weight you lift to strengthen the muscle. It's one way of training your arm, but not the only option. Similarly to our muscles, our intellect is naturally predisposed to grow to a certain size. If you have a good intellectual capacity based on your genes, you have plenty of potential to grow. At the same time, some people will see better results from using education when they have a good capacity for education attainment. Others will develop their intellect through less formal methods. When intellect and education come together in the right way, the possibilities are endless. The right education can open your mind, help you to hone your skills, and ensure you discover your talents. Getting your head around education versus intelligence. Both intelligence and education are closely connected to knowledge and the way the human mind works, but they're very different things. Intelligence is something you can't necessarily force, but you can potentially develop over time. You're born with a certain capacity for intelligence, just like you're born with an ability to attain knowledge. Some people can even expand their intellectual potential over time with regular mental exercises. Education is something we use to better ourselves and leverage the intellectual capacity we have. For some people, education is the ultimate tool for expanding their intellect. For others, a good education is just part of a comprehensive strategy for true cognitive development. If you're keen to expand your intellect but you're not sure where to start, a DNA test could help. Looking at your gene profiling gives you behind-the-scenes insight to your intellectual capacity as well as your proficiency for educational attainment. Okay, it's a nice article, but I see what they're trying to do. They want to get you to take a DNA test and a motherfucking IQ test.